At the time of this recording, we are literally less than 24 hours away from the 2026 NBA trade deadline. And so that means time is ticking on a Giannis trade to Golden State. We're going to break down the latest reports and updates from Golden State's point of view and the Giannis camp as well on today's show. Before we do, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button and help us get to our next milestone of 103,000 subs, because we bring you the guys the Warriors content when you need to hear it. Whether it's trade rumors, news, injuries, anything going on with your Golden State Warriors, we cover it right here on the channel. And we will also be covering the NBA trade deadline live on the channel tomorrow. So go down below, hit that subscribe button, and turn your notifications on as well to never miss a moment surrounding your dubs, especially right now with a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade being on the books. We have new updates surrounding Golden State's Giannis offer. Now, we've kind of been reading the tea leaves and getting some breadcrumbs dropped along the way to where we already kind of know what Golden State is going to be sending out in a Giannis deal, right? Well, I wasn't necessarily sure if one player in particular would be in this deal, but it looks like he is, as Marc Stein of the Stein Line is reporting that the Stein Line was the first to report on January 23rd that Jimmy Butler would not be included in Golden State's Giannis offers, and it has since been confirmed that the Warriors have indeed made Draymond Green part of their pitch to Milwaukee in presumed combination with Jonathan Kuminga, Milwaukee native Brandin Podziemski, and draft capital. Okay, so I didn't necessarily believe that Golden State would withhold Brandin Podziemski in these trade talks or anything like that, but it is the first time that we're kind of seeing him lumped in to the mix here. From my point of view, I saw it being a combination of Draymond, Kuminga, and one of Buddy Hield or Moses Moody. But clearly, to a team like Milwaukee, where Brandin Podziemski is from, probably has a little bit more value than some of those guys, especially more untapped potential than a Moses Moody or a Buddy Hield would net for them. Move over, Tyler Hero. We're giving them pods. So the Heat have a big time, I guess, leg up, you could say, with Tyler Hero being a Milwaukee native and all that jazz. But we got one of our own, so take that, Miami. Golden State has another leg up on you, regardless of how little draft picks that the Heat possess. Now, the part of that is just a joke, but at the same time, who knows? It could get this trade over the edge. It does feel like Golden State's kind of getting played with a little bit, but we'll talk about that more later. But look, at the end of the day, the Warriors trade offer for Giannis is final. It's not changing. So if that's what it's going to be in Draymond, Kuminga, and Brandin Podziemski in this deal, which, by the way, I think you still have to give up a little bit more. I don't know if all those three guys get you to $54 million that you need to match for Giannis, but that is kind of the crux of the deal. Maybe it's one more minimum contract later down the rotation for Golden State, and then draft capital. We know it's going to be the 4 first-round picks and the 3 pick swaps. Now, a lot of people like to say, the swaps aren't going to matter that much. How do you know that? How do you know what this league could look like in 2, 3, 4, 5 years when those swaps are getting, conveyed? I think the control of 7 first-round picks is something that the Milwaukee Bucks certainly like, but they're going back and forth with other teams to counteroffer because they know that the Golden State Warriors offer is final. Now, more from Marc Stein here in terms of the Draymond kind of aspect of this deal. It says, yet there's a tangible trade obstacle for the Warriors in their pursuit of Giannis. League sources say that Milwaukee has shown a reluctance to take Green's contract and would want him to be routed to a third team if talks progress to an advanced stage, which would be extremely challenging when Green, who's 35 years old, holds a $27.6 million player option for next season. Nobody's taking Draymond Green for a rental. And we've also heard that Draymond Green could be in on getting sent away for Giannis and then come back to Golden State in the offseason. So, of course, nobody's going to want to trade for Draymond Green in that regard. Like, I told you guys this. Regardless of even the player option and stuff like that, who wants Draymond Green? Where do teams see value? I know there were reports and rumors coming out that teams would be willing to offer a first-round pick for Draymond. I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. He makes too much money for too little production statistically. I know he raises the floor of your defense. I know he's still one of the better one-on-one defenders in the league in terms of defending both wings and bigs. But at the end of the day, he's too much of a hiccup. He's got off-the-court drama that I don't think a lot of teams would be, as lenient and as lax and as understanding of Draymond Green and his antics than the Golden State Warriors are. I don't see this being a big-time possibility here. So it feels like with Milwaukee not wanting him, the chances are going down a little bit for a Draymond Green for Giannis, I guess, headline trade. Now, speaking of Draymond, he was asked in the Warriors postgame after they got absolutely demolished by the Sixers. That's a whole other story. This team is just embarrassing to watch without Wardell on the floor. But Draymond Green had a really, really awesome press conference, kind of just laying it all on the table, honest, open conversation with the media about his time in Golden State and whether or not this may be the end. He said that if it ends, what an effing ride it has been. He said, I'll take the fine. What an effing ride. He said he would not be upset if the Warriors trade him. Quote, if that's what's best for the organization, then yeah, he's in favor of it. So very classy. What could be final remarks from Draymond Green as a Golden State Warrior, but I don't know, man. Something about this. It felt more real, and it felt more like it was going to happen a few days ago than it does right now with all this holdup. But hey, NBA trades are flying around right now, so Golden State could absolutely get a last-minute deal done for Giannis. Now, before we move on, I got to ask you guys, predict it for me. Get the crystal balls out. Let me know. Do the Warriors trade for Giannis this week? Y for yes and for no. Very simple question. Does the deal get done or not? Is it as close as it's ever been? Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about our sponsor on today's show before we move on to any more about this Giannis deal and the major NBA trade news that concerns our Golden State Warriors. But guys, I got to tell you guys about Rocket Money. Look, right hand up. I'm not the best spender. I spend hours each month worrying about my finances. I end up having subscriptions that I'm subscribed to multiple times. I'm literally a mess when it comes to money, so I had to download Rocket Money to get that sorted out. It's my New Year's resolution this year was to be a better spender, and Rocket Money is helping me do that. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money tracks subscriptions and has the ability to cancel within the app with just a few taps, saving time and avoiding extra charges. Nobody likes to see an extra charge on their bill at the end of the month. Also, you get consolidated checking, savings, loans, and investments into a single dashboard to give users a clear view of their financial picture. Everything that you need to know as far as your finances go, as long as you put your information in, you're going to find it on Rocket Money, and they're going to tell you how to monitor your spending, when there's a big-time purchase on your account. They're going to give you notices for this in case they're unauthorized. They're going to help you out in every aspect of your financial game. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join today at rocketmoney.com/warriorschat. That's rocketmoney.com/warriorschat, rocketmoney.com/warriorschat. And that link is in the comments section and description of today's video. All right, something I think we need to talk about next is, in reality, what does Giannis want? Because we've heard with the list of teams that are interested, Minnesota, Miami, and Golden State, that he's been interested in teaming with Anthony Edwards up in Minnesota. He's always had an affinity for Miami. You've heard him say he's been intrigued by winning a championship with the Knicks for the first time in 50 years. But we haven't really heard about him necessarily lately being interested in being a Golden State Warrior. As a matter of fact, we've heard the contrary. But I don't think we should buy into that all too much. I want to go to this conversation between Giannis and Eric Nem, who is an athletic beat reporter for the Milwaukee Bucks, where they're having a sit-down one-on-one conversation, and Giannis tells him, brother, if you ask me deep down what I want today, I want to be a Milwaukee Buck for the rest of my career. I want to win here, another championship. And if you can tell me that's possible, let's just hang up the phone. And then they kind of pause for a second. You know basketball. You see basketball. You understand basketball. You've been around greatness. You've been around a championship team. You've been around a good culture. You've been around when the poppers were popping. I mean, you were around. You saw it. If you tell me that that's possible, we can hang up the phone and keep on moving with our day. And neither one of them hung up the phone, and neither of them moved along with the rest of their day. A trade is coming. It's happening. The days of Giannis in Milwaukee are numbered. And honestly, I think it would make the most sense for Milwaukee to get the deal done now. Giannis doesn't want to sit out. The Bucks can't afford to win games, so playing Giannis would easily help them do more of that. They can't risk him getting an Achilles injury or further injury here because that just tanks his trade value for whenever they want to deal him in the summer. There's just too much risk going on with the Bucks keeping Giannis past the deadline. I think a trade has to go down. But the question is, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Miami? Is it going to be Milwaukee? Is it going to be Minnesota? Is it going to be Golden State? From the Dubs' point of view, man, it feels like the Bucks are kind of stringing them along. Like, it feels like they're kind of just having them along here to use as a comparison for what the other teams who Giannis may want to go to more have to offer. Because it doesn't feel like if Minnesota were to unload the treasure chest right now, I think the deal would be done. But Golden State is, I feel like, being used by Milwaukee to get more out of Minnesota at this point. But hey, who knows? If they don't get that stuff out of the Wolves, maybe they end up taking the Golden State deal where they get a plethora of draft picks. Tim Kawakami gave more insight on this, saying the following. A Warriors source indicated earlier on Tuesday that they don't know what Milwaukee really wants to do, and that the Warriors had to start evaluating other possible trades to help the team now. Oh my God, guys. This front office, they are clowns. They're clueless. They have no idea what they're doing. For a team that's in as much shambles as the Warriors are in right now, to only have one plan for your trade deadline, and it's Giannis, a guy who has never been traded in his career, you're idiots. You're dumb. You don't know what you're doing, and you're doing a disservice day after day after day to Wardell. I don't know how many times I've said it on this show. The disrespect to Steph on this roster and by the front office, it's disgusting. It's fireable. But, Joe Lake, a billionaire, thinks it's all because of him. What a loser. What an absolute loser. The fact, there's also no real plan B that makes sense either for Golden State. Michael Porter Jr. is not getting you over the top without Jimmy. Trey Murphy's not getting traded. Herb Jones isn't getting traded. Who else is there at the end of the day? I actually can't fathom who would be dealt, because we just saw James Harden get dealt. I'm not saying I would have wanted to trade for him, but he's gone now. Other teams are making moves. Mike Dunleavy's asleep. Joe Lacob is asleep. It's agonizing to see so much action and movement around this league, and Golden State sit on their hands, because not only did James Harden get moved, Anthony Davis just got moved. A player who there were many big rumors about Golden State pursuing, and the Wizards got him for nothing. Chris Middleton, who doesn't play, can't move anymore. A.J. Johnson, who is that? Malachi Branham, he's been cut in G League, and he's a end-of-rotation guy. Marvin Bagley, are we serious? 2 first-round picks. Guess what? One of them isn't even going to convey, and 3 second-rounders. They got him for a bag of chips. Nothing. So, very interested to see what Golden State ends up doing here at the deadline. Now, what's interesting to note about that, that's why I wanted to talk about that trade on today's show, is that pick, the second of the 2 first-round picks, is the Warriors 2030 first-round pick that they had sent to Washington. Top 20 protected, though. So, what that means, for anybody who's wondering, Golden State can still send that protection out to Milwaukee in a Giannis trade. They could still send pick whatever, if it were to not convey into that protection, the Bucks would have all picks 1 through 20 if it lands there in 2030, which is probably likely considering Steph might not be playing. Who knows if Giannis is still even a Warrior by then? Who knows? But we have 1 day to go. I don't know if it's going to get done. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. But I will not be surprised if Golden State does not get this thing over the finish line. You can help it out, though. You can help make it happen. You can help manifest Golden State making a deal for Antetokounmpo. Hit that thumbs up icon. Like today's show if you want the Warriors to trade for Giannis in the next 24 hours. That will do it for today's show. Give me a follow over on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. YouTube.com/Warriors TV for the latest and greatest on your Dubs right before the deadline. We'll be live for it tomorrow, so see us then. And as always, let's go Dubs.